And joining me now is Democratic strategist and Bernie Sanders supporter Harlan Hill and Democratic pollster and Hillary Clinton supporter Celinda Lake. Harlan Hill, will your man bow out gracefully tomorrow if the numbers stack up as expected?
I actually don't expect that at all. I think that he's very clearly communicated that he has the money and the resources and the backing to stay through up until the convention. So regardless of the results tomorrow, and I think that he has a very good chance, he has the most momentum going into tomorrow, I think that he'll stay in through the convention.
And unity be damned.
Well, I think that he's putting the middle class, the American worker before party politics, and a lot of people respect him for that, myself included.
Celinda, you are a Hillary Clinton supporter. Is Bernie Sanders motivating Democratic supporters or perhaps damaging your candidate's position?
Well, I think Bernie Sanders has played a very, very important role in the campaign so far, articulated an economic agenda that's very powerful, spoken to the need for change, mobilized voters, and I see absolutely no reason why he can't continue to the convention and do the same thing. But what I hope is that we are united in turning our focus on Donald Trump, and I think Bernie Sanders this weekend gave a very powerful speech talking about Donald Trump. Nothing could be more of an anathema, I would think, to Bernie Sanders than a billionaire who has profited and at the expense of ordinary people who won't unionize his workers, who has brought in immigrant workforce because he could pay them less, who has cheated people out of their college educations, and is a racist and misogynist to boot. I would think that's very unifying to Democrats, and I hope both Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders speak eloquently to that.
And yet the numbers suggest a significant number of Bernie's supporters are more likely to support Trump than Hillary.
I think those numbers are very...
One moment, Harlan.
I think those numbers are very deceptive right now. I mean, really, as Bernie Sanders speaks to Donald Trump and draws the contrast, I do not think that is true. I think it's a momentary expression of frustration. The Bernie Sanders voters have no issue positions in common with Donald Trump.
Okay, Harlan, the Bernie Sanders supporters have no issue positions in common with Donald Trump. Do you recognize that description?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, there's a lot of commonality actually between a candidate like Bernie Sanders and a candidate like Donald Trump. They're both anti-establishment candidates. They're both taking issue with trade. I mean, look, Hillary Clinton's on the wrong side of trade in this country. She supported NAFTA in the 1990s. Her husband was sort of the architect of it. She negotiated TPP when she was at the State Department. Between the two, it's going to lead to millions of jobs exported overseas. I think the American middle class has had enough. The American middle class cannot compete with slave labor in China and Mexico City. And so they're doing very cold, hard calculus, and they're saying, I don't really like Trump, but, Hillary Clinton's on the wrong side of trade. Look, she's a neocon. She supported every war since Vietnam. She voted for the invasion of Iraq. She's on the wrong side of history. She's a multimillionaire in her own right. So, I mean, these dispersions that she... that Donald Trump is harder to relate to because he's extraordinarily wealthy. I think that they also stick to Hillary Clinton.
You are a Democratic strategist. Who would you vote
for? I've done over 120 campaigns.
If it was Clinton versus Trump, who would you vote for?
Right now, I'm taking a very, very hard look at Donald Trump. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm taking a hard look at him. I think that Hillary Clinton has a 30-year track record of lies, deceit, and fraud. I don't trust her. She's on the email server is really the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I think that she put her own political expedience ahead of national security, and she destroyed evidence as part of the investigation. I've got real issues with her. I don't trust her.
Celinda, this is the real deal. This isn't opinion polls. This is a fully paid up Democratic strategist who's thinking of voting for Donald Trump. You've got a problem.
Well, he's got a problem, but I cannot imagine, Harlan, the end of the day, that you are going to vote for someone who called a judge who had been born and raised in Indiana, that Mexican judge, who said, my black voter, who disses women the way he has treated women, who wants to expand nuclear weapons. Really, I can appreciate, Harlan, you're frustrated, but I cannot imagine in the end of the day that any Democrat would vote for Donald Trump. And the data shows that it's less than 7 to 9% of the voters. I think our bigger issue is turnout, and I think what we have to do...
7 to 9% in a presidential election is actually very meaningful, particularly where it happens. I mean, you know this better than anyone. I mean, you're probably one of the top pollsters in the Democratic Party, right? I mean, you know, in certain states and among certain constituencies, that swing vote could be very meaningful.
I am sure that Bernie Sanders will endorse Hillary Clinton, and I am positive that he will do everything he can in his power because of what he stands for and what he believes in and the kind of person he has lived his whole life to be, to reassure people that Hillary Clinton is the better vote over Donald Trump. I mean, look, we saw this same kind of fight in 2008, and there was all this discussion about would Hillary supporters really vote for Barack Obama, and Hillary voted for Barack Obama, and all of her supporters did as well.
Harlan Hill, Celinda Lake, many thanks indeed.